talk, I just want to correct you, Apurva, because we don't want a world war. I'm not single-handedly raising anything or anybody. I strongly believe in equal parenting, and that is
No,
what.
no, no. You know what I
Yes,
mean. You know
because
what I
this
No,
mean.
no, no.
report.
And I can vouch for it. Vinod is also helping her.
Thank you. And to be honest, when Apurva sent me this topic, for a moment, I was like, oh no, it's something, which I have not made before, or it's not something which I can dig up into my hard drives of photos and videos of retina and make. But then I gave it about 4 5 days, and it's been very interesting for me also to put down so many of my thoughts. So let me start by the term used for this session, which is premature midlife crisis. So basically, what is a midlife crisis? And as Apurva rightly said, I feel that our generation, especially with so many overachievers, tend to reach it much earlier. I myself have spoken to many ophthalmologists, my colleagues, my juniors, and even friends in other professions, in high productivity professions, so as to say MBAs, scientists, graduates, wherein they reach a point where they feel that they've already done their best. It's a transition of your identity, feeling your best years are behind you. I've learned all the surgeries, I've published so much, I have my dream job. What now? So you kind of get a monotony of your work or your job. Am I just going to keep operating my whole life? Am I just going to keep publishing and seeing patients? Or even, am I just going to keep earning my whole life? This is what the crisis actually is. Another thing which I feel, talking to all my peers and colleagues and juniors, is a feeling of restriction that they get, or we get, due to family obligations. On the other hand, once you start a family, or once you settle down, or you move to a new city, you might feel that you are not able to do what you want to do the way you want to do. Maybe you're not able to devote that much time to work, or you are not able to publish the way you want, etc. So in my mind, these are the two common issues that I see talking to people of my generation. So it's basically, a lot of uncertainty, questioning, and part of dissatisfaction and frustration. But what I would like to say is that it is not actually a crisis when you enter the stage. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to do more, to do things differently. And here, though I am not strictly an influencer per se, but this is something I'll take you through my journey also. This is something which struck me, and I went into it. So, what exactly is a social media influencer? Basically, it is a person who is an expert in his or her field, with some amount of credibility and following, with the ability to influence people's decisions. It may be their personal decisions, it may be their their buying decisions, it may be a sort of marketing, or it may be a sort of publicity. And in this is a subset, which are the bloggers, as in who literally live their life on social media for people to see, watch, and learn. So further adding to this is the term the mom influencer. So the mom influencers are ones who, like I said, use visual storytelling. So there's a lot of photography, a lot of videos, to share their own experiences of parenting, their interests, and most importantly, their recommendations and products. And what sets them apart is that if you would look at them, literally you would feel this is the mom who can do it all, which may or may not be true. So how do you become an influencer? Basically, you select your niche, which is what I did, 2 or 3 points which you feel are your strengths, or which you can inspire people to do. Then you optimize your profile accordingly. So for instance, if let's say I have a hobby of photography and I want to highlight that, then I would not suddenly put in a video of me cooking one day or start sharing recipes one day, because then I would be targeting people who are interested in photography to follow me. And if they see me cooking or see me sharing more content on cooking, they are likely to unfollow me. So at the same time, you have to understand your audience, you have to engage with them. You can't just be one sided on social media, and you have to solve their problems. So it is, I would say, I find a lot of analogy to the medical field, where actually you are engaging and solving problems of your patients as well. You have to create and post relevant content, like I said, and there has to be a wow factor in it to stand out. And from the beginning, I feel you should be clear about your collaboration policy. You are definitely going to be contacted by brands, you're going to be contacted by, other influencers, etc., for collaborations, and you should be clear what you are here for, what are your expectations, and what lengths you will go to. So why I started? So basically, we've talked a lot about hobbies and all. So for me, the primary purpose was to nurture my creative side. I am a trained classical dancer as well, and in fact, Nupur's talk was also very interesting. I could have talked on that for hours. But also your creativity in art, in expression of what you feel life is being. So this was the primary reason I started, to nurture my creative side. And secondly, to give back to the community. I see so many young parents. I will not use the word mothers here because a large part of my following is also dads. So it is a lot of giving back to the community. What I have learned as a parent, if I can present that information in a nutshell, in an easier way, I will be educating a lot of parents. Thirdly, the networking potential is immense. So, sometimes a part of the crisis is because all you're talking to is ophthalmologists, all you're meeting is ophthalmologists. You may even be married to an ophthalmologist, and then at work, ophthalmologist again. Meeting people from different spheres of life is very interesting, and it rejuvenates you. And finally, of course, the recognition, the fame or the recognition it gives you. And I'm still a micro influencer, I would say. But then, when people recognize me in the park, that, oh, we follow you, or they see your kids and say, oh, these are, Dr. Momni has kids, it does give you a kind of kick. And that is something what we are looking for, whether it's in our career or in our hobbies or in our passions. So this was the reason why I became a momfluencer from a mom. And my mantra has been to inspire rather than to influence. So what I do is I simply document my parenting journey. I give out honest recommendations. I share what worked for us and also what didn't work for us. I share information on day-to-day topics which every parent needs, every person needs, on events, on things that are happening, where you can travel, how you can travel, etc. And being a doctor, I also offer support, not medical advice, but other support. I bust myths. I do lives with people from professional fields. And of course, I encourage other mompreneurs in this community. So man and women are ultimately selfish animals. How it helps me, and this is what I got down to thinking when I was making this presentation. So 3 aspects. First is learning new things. Now, like Apurva said, that mindlessly, navigating social media. If you have a strategy, you can actually learn a lot of new things in a very short period of time. Not all of us have the time to read books, read entire books, or listen to podcasts. But social media, if you are selective and if you are smart, you can learn a lot. I learned a lot about lactation support, gentle baby sleep, baby-led weaning, Montessori, right brain education, phonics, gentle parenting, diet, nutrition, toy, and book recommendations, which I could never have just reading about it. So, the key is to be selective and to be smart. A lot of non-monetary gains, some things I have talked about. First of all, it helped me to document what all I am doing, a one-stop place for my recipes, for my activities, which even I refer to. Social media, it acts like a, kind of a push. It urges you to perform and innovate. I have to keep giving content. So for that, I have to do stuff. And it urges you to get up and show up. Even if you are feeling a bit down in the dumps on one day, that, there are hundreds of people waiting for a story or waiting for a picture. And that does make you get up and dress up and, go out, even if you don't feel like. It tells you are not alone. You connect with like-minded people. And as I said earlier, it gives you a kick, a sense of achievement, and very quick route to fame and recognition. So just to give you an example, this is what 4,000 people look like. And when you have 4,000 people following you or looking at your stories or commenting, that's a whole lot of people. It's a lot of people that you can reach, which you couldn't have otherwise. And finally, since you're talking about midlife crisis, it helps you to learn new skills, new lingo, be young and stay young. You remain social media savvy. I for one am a person who has multiple passions and is always ready to learn something new, and this has been a new learning experience for me. Now finally, you can always monetize your account, your page, your brand. You can do giveaways, you can do barter collabs, which I do sometimes do, because just to encourage other mompreneurs. They will send you companies will send you products and ask you to do an unboxing video, or just to share in your stories so that they get some more orders. You can do paid collabs or brand partnerships. You can also have your own storefront with affiliate links, which you get paid for every time anybody buys from there. And now Instagram also pays you to make reels and TV, their IGTV videos. Like all good things, this has a downside too. In my opinion, the most important is to set and to adhere to a boundary. There are things which I will not put or not share on social media. There is a certain time that I will devote to it, not more than that. I think if you stick to that, there is a very less tendency of it getting addicted to the point of being harmful to you. The other downside is comparing yourself and your family or your way to others and feeling guilty. I get a lot of DMs with moms that, how do you manage to do so much? You have a hospital, you have this, you have that. So the key is not to compare yourself, because obviously I don't show the entire picture. I may not show the days when I'm very stressed or very overworked, and that holds true for everybody. So these are the two things, to remain happy on social media: boundaries, and don't ever compare. And then it's all up game, I feel. Mindless browsing, naturally you have to be strict with yourself. As a creator, sometimes you can get a creator's block where you don't have content. And this is another thing which I learned, is you cannot always strive for perfection. You have to put it out there, and for people who are perfectionists like me, it's a learning experience. And then sometimes when you don't do well, your posts don't do that well, or etc., you might feel a bit disappointed as well. But to conclude, momfluencers are a league of their own, and I am honored to be one of them, because this has been a great learning experience for them, for myself. They are relatable, funny, and it's both a very glamorized version of motherhood as well as a very real version of motherhood. And the aura of moms know best is actually very lucrative for marketing, and a lot. I think it's a lot of the marketing industry is now focusing on influencers and momfluencers. So finally, a word about mompreneur, because that's in my topic as well, but I feel that's a whole separate topic altogether. So what is a mompreneur? Basically, a creative, multitasking woman who bravely manages the demands of running a business as an entrepreneur and the blessings of motherhood at the same time. So the key words here, I feel, is A, being creative; B, multitasking; and C, being brave. That is, I think, the most important. And Apurva's talk was, of course, very interesting, and Atomic Habits has been a favorite for me. But there's always this debate whether you should focus on one task at a time or multitask. And me myself have always been an advocate of multitasking. In fact, people who do a single task only somewhat irritate me. So just to give an example, while I was attending this session, I have responded to one reviewer for an original article. I have done a survey for a senior. I have collated a post for Instagram, and I've also picked out a recipe that I need to make. So there's no limit to what all you can do. You are the only one who has to set your limit. So the key is having clarity of thought, what you want to do, having not just a work-life balance, but a work-life-home balance. And you have to prioritize and strategize. You have to decide, this is what I have to do, and this is what I can or cannot do, or may not do. Make a routine or a to-do list and stick to it. Look at small goals before big goals. Like Apurva was saying, you can't target 50 publications. You have to start with 1 or 2 or 5. Ask for help. This, I would say, is the most important, or rather demand help from people around you. Sometimes we tend to take on so much ourselves that we feel guilty in asking others for help. And use the power of delegation. Someone once told me that if you do everything, you can't ever be promoted. So the work which you can delegate to